I'm good, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Give us your scouting report of the way Gino, even before yesterday, the way Gino is truly, viewed by his teammates, not from a physical talent, necessarily the throws and the mobility, just as a leader. Is he respected, do you think, before yesterday?
Well, he's not universally respected in the locker room. I've spoken to guys, veteran guys, who are cautiously optimistic that he can turn the corner and grow and lead them. So, they're taking a glass half full approach, or they were. But I don't think you can be universally respected as a quarterback when you've had such an erratic first 2 years in the league. He's had some issues on the field. He's had some issues off the field as well. And if you know him a little bit, even, he's kind of an odd character. I don't want to say he's a bad guy because I don't think he's a bad guy from my interaction with him. I just think that, there's a lot of pressure on a quarterback in New York, especially a young quarterback who's learning on the fly, learning a pro system. And, he's had some issues, some mistakes that he's made. And I thought that he turned the corner this offseason in terms of being more mature. But, this latest incident obviously doesn't shine a positive light on him, even though I don't think, he's to blame, fully for this.
Went down? Like, do you have any idea how this actually went down? What happened here? The intricate details of what went down, because BT and I were talking about this at the top of our show, and it's one thing to get into a fight and pull down when get on the ground and wrestle with one another, but how do you get punched in a locker room with all your guys around?
Well, I think this is obviously something that's stemming from their July, or I guess IK's July football camp, in which Gino didn't attend. And my understanding is that Gino told IK 2 weeks ago when training camp began that he was going to pay him the $600, reimburse him the money for the airfare and the limo fees that IK had doled out for Gino to attend. And he just didn't pay him. And if you know Gino, I don't think it's unusual that he didn't pay him. I don't think he was trying to duck out of paying him. I know that there are some reports out there that suggest that he refused to pay him. And maybe in the heat of the moment yesterday, he said that. I can't verify that one way or the other, but I do know that he had every intention of paying him. He didn't do so, and the other guy took umbrage to that. And then when things get heated, I don't know exactly what was said in that moment before Gino got punched, but it was my understanding is that it was a pretty quick altercation. After the punch, Gino got up, said he wasn't going to do this in the locker room, and he walked out, went to the trainer's room, and that was pretty much it. And then when Todd Bowles got wind of the situation, he talked to each of those guys individually, and then he talked to both of them together to kind of get a fuller picture of how everything unfolded. And Bowles' conclusion is pretty simple, that it was childish and stupid, and IK sucker punched him. You can get into the semantics about what a sucker punch is, but the head coach clearly thought it was uncalled for.
Yeah, and certainly don't want to condone violence here, but they're two grown men, and if you try to skimp out on paying somebody $600 and you just keep basically ignoring them, you kind of deserve to get popped. I mean, that's my take here. Now, I wish it wasn't in the locker room. I hope it wasn't a true sucker punch. I hope they were really face to face if it went down like that. But I mean, who the hell does Geno Smith think he is? Just not paying $600? It's idiotic.
Yeah, BT. I don't think that he wasn't going to pay him. I mean, only one person truly knows the answer to that, and that's Geno Smith.
Yep.
From people that I've spoken to, he had every intention of paying him. I don't think he prioritized that on his list of things to do, and that was really the cause of the friction. Whereas if you're somebody who's owed that money, you want to get paid sooner than later, right? So I do understand IK's frustration, but I don't agree with the idea that he deserved to get hit over this. It had been 2 weeks. If this thing drags on and Gino abundantly makes it clear that there's no way that he's forking over the $600, and then maybe you take it to a different level, but certainly not in the workplace, certainly not in the locker room. It's not warranted. So I do agree with Todd Bowles that unless you say something or do something to your family, I don't think it warrants getting punched in the face because of money that has been owed.
Very interesting day, to say the least, and there's been a lot of those for that franchise. Manish, Mehta, Jets reporter, Daily News, Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio.
How comfortable is this team with Ryan Fitzpatrick at the helm now, or are they going to go out and try to find another veteran on the street?
Well, they're going to try to find another veteran to be the number 2 quarterback, because when you look at the depth chart now, Bryce Petty is just not ready to be a backup quarterback right now. I think he's got tremendous physical talent. I think he's an extremely smart guy, but he's coming from Baylor's system, and it's going to take time to adapt to a pro-style offense, decipher NFL defenses, and he's more of a long-term project. I think they want to see how he develops over the course of the year. So he's going to be the third quarterback. They need to find a short-term gap here as a backup, a veteran guy. And, it is slim pickings, but, Ryan Fitzpatrick is entrenched as a starter, and I would not be surprised at all if he's the starter for the duration of the season. If they're winning games and Fitzpatrick is playing well, it doesn't matter when Geno Smith gets healthy because they're not turning back to Geno Smith. It's not like the Jets are going back to Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. This is an erratic third-year quarterback who has 41 turnovers in 2 seasons. So if the other guy is playing well, the other guy's going to stay in. So it's conceivable that Geno Smith might not start in 2015 for the Jets or ever again for the Jets.
Yeah, and, to further your point, and I'm with you as a philosophy, if somebody's getting the job done, keep them in. But he wasn't drafted by this regime, so there's no connection. There's no real commitment. It's kind of, we'll play because this is what we inherited, and until we can get maybe something better, this is the route we'll take. So I'm with you on that. Now, Bart Scott brought something up which is really intriguing. I didn't even think about this. Kyle Orton retired. You think the Jets try to entice him on any level, maybe with a few extra bucks to get him in?
Well, I know Kyle Orton retired. I think Jason Campbell's another guy who recently retired, so maybe they'll dust those guys off. But I don't think that they're looking for a guy to challenge Ryan Fitzpatrick or to hold some kind of open competition now with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that they're pretty firm in thinking that Fitzpatrick understands Stan Gailey's offense. They obviously were together for a few years in Buffalo, and he's a guy who can make timely throws in games when they need it because whether Geno Smith was going to be the starting quarterback or Ryan Fitzpatrick or whoever, this team is going to be driven by the defense. And so they're going to play a lot of ugly, low-scoring games. They're not going to ask the quarterback to throw it 35 or 40 times. So I think they're comfortable with Fitzpatrick in that sense that because he understands Gailey's offense and because there are guys like Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall to throw to, that'll be enough to keep this team in most games this season.
And the fun is just starting. Manish Mehta, Jets reporter, Daily News. You see him on TV as well, SNY regionally. Good spot, buddy. Buckle in. Going to be fun as always.
All right. Thanks. Take care.